Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Baer County reaches over 10,000 COVID-19 cases over the weekend. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. Why city leaders are concerned as hospitalizations continue to increase.
The president is responding to a bombshell report about bounties being paid to kill U.S. troops in Afghanistan. I'm Alex Perche in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
Outside with live cam, tons of humidity out there as we get close to wrapping up the month of June, and we have a surprise for you this morning. Good morning. It is Monday. It is June 29th, and Myra Arthur is here all this week on GMSA, and we are absolutely thankful to have her here.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much. I get to say good morning.
You do?
On this set.
How weird does that feel?
That hasn't happened in 8 years.
8 years.
It's been that long?
We did the math, and Mike's back with us, too, after a break last week. And it doesn't seem like 8 years.
No, it's been that long since I worked GMSA.
Wow.
But I'm here.
But it went like that, and here you are.
It did go like that.
It's like riding a bike, dude.
Exactly.
Here. So, humidity. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, it was high over the weekend, but it seems like it's even higher this morning. We have got temperatures. Normal low is in the low 70s. We're at 80 right now. 79 Bulverde, 78 Tarpley, Comfort. All these numbers obviously are way above normal. And these numbers, we're averaging mid 70s, which is just kind of wet towel humidity. So get ready when you step outside this morning. Of course, we did have a couple of showers, thunderstorms late yesterday, and even some that lasted in the overnight hours, especially well up to the northeast of Austin. Obviously, there's nothing around here as of right now. It is kind of breezy, though. We've got winds out of the southeast about 10, 15 miles per hour. We do have a couple of wind gusts out there. It's gusting to 24 at the airport, 22 in New Braunfels, 18 up the road toward Bernie Stage. Dust is still kind of hanging around here. Mold is moderate. Pigweed is on the low side, and throughout the day it is going to stay kind of breezy. We will have we're going to have more sunshine around here throughout the day. A scattered shower thunderstorm mainly off to the west later on this afternoon. That's what takes into account that. But other than that, we're going to be seeing just hot temperatures and going to be heating up as we go in toward the holiday weekend. Details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Here's Officer Marcus Trujillo. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning, Mike, and good morning everyone at home, and welcome back. And as we take a look at the roadways, so far things moving along fairly well. No issues out there. We did have some big accidents overnight, but right now everything's clear. Let's take a look at a couple of highways. 35 at Division north and southbound lanes moving along with no issues. 410 in Culebra has a few more vehicles than we're used to seeing this early in the morning, and Highway 90 at 410. So far, no issues there. Just remember, buckle up once you head out. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. Good to see you, sir. Top stories this morning. Another record-breaking weekend with the most amount of COVID-19 cases in one day yet, leading the city to send out an alert on our phones across the county. Now leaders are also concerned about the amount of space left in area hospitals. Our Sarah Costa joins us live from home with the latest on this Monday morning. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Mark. And if you saw your phone on Saturday and heard that alert go off, you got that push alert that city leaders sent out urging residents to stay home after the highest number of COVID-19 cases were recorded on Saturday. But let's go ahead and just take a look at those numbers. Currently, San Antonio and Baer County have 10,147 cases of COVID-19. Yesterday, 495 cases were recorded. And Saturday, that record-breaking number of 795 cases in one day were added to the list. 2 new deaths were reported, bringing the death toll to 109 people. A total of 3,150 people, or 31% of COVID-19 patients, have recovered, leaving 6,888, or 68% of cases, still battling the virus. Hospitalizations are continuing to increase, causing concern for city leaders. As of Sunday, there are 27% of available staffed hospital beds and 72% of available ventilators. Governor Greg Abbott met with Vice President Mike Pence Sunday afternoon in Dallas to discuss the rapid increase of cases of COVID-19 across the state. Now, starting today, restaurants must push back their capacity from 75% to 50% under Governor Greg Abbott's order that he released on Friday. Reporting live from home, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Myra.
All right, thanks, Sarah. And right now on KSAT.com, both Vice President Mike Pence and Governor Greg Abbott are acknowledging there has been a rapid rise in the number of coronavirus cases here in Texas. This comes after the governor began allowing businesses to start reopening in early May. He said, quote, COVID-19 has taken a very swift and very dangerous turn in Texas, end quote. Pence praised the governor for his decisions to both reopen the state and then to roll back that reopening plan. Meanwhile, some local health experts are predicting we could be headed toward the kind of situation we saw play out in New York City earlier in this pandemic. Some officials say based on current health models, San Antonio could see a doubling in hospitalizations next week. You can read more about both stories on KSAT.com. Just look for them right there on the homepage.
New this morning in Pakistan, a deadly attack at the stock exchange in the southern city of Karachi. 2 guards and a policeman were killed. Officers were able to get inside quickly and 4 gunmen were killed. That violent scene playing out this morning. The shooting started at the entrance of the exchange. We're told the men were armed with grenades and automatic rifles. The Baluchistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for that attack. President Donald Trump is pushing back on a report accusing Russia of offering bounties to the Taliban to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan.
He says he was never briefed on that matter. Members of Congress are now pushing for answers on whether that is true.
ABC's Alex Perchet has more from Washington.
Overnight, President Trump pushing back on a bombshell New York Times report, accusing Russia of offering bounties on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. That same report saying the president was briefed on the findings. Trump responded in a tweet that Intel told him they did not find this info credible and therefore did not report it to me or Vice President Pence. That report says Russian intelligence officers offered to pay the Taliban to kill American troops amid peace talks to end America's longest war. A military official confirmed the report to ABC News, but did not know if the president had been briefed. The political fallout has been swift.
If it is true, underline the word if, that they are paying surrogates to kill Americans, this is one of the most serious matters, I think, that has arisen in the Trump administration.
Republican Representative Liz Cheney tweeting, if the report is true, why wasn't the president or VP briefed? Who did know and when? And what's been the response?
This is as bad as it gets.
And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the president's response totally outrageous.
You would think that the minute the president heard of it, he would want to know more instead of denying that he knew anything.
Pelosi saying top congressional leaders were not aware of the report, but would be investigating to determine if the president was briefed. Last year, 23 U.S. troops died in Afghanistan, but whether any were targeted by Taliban fighters paid by Russian operatives is not known, according to military sources. Still, this is new fuel for Trump's 2020 challenger, Joe Biden.
Donald Trump has continued his embarrassing campaign of deference and debasing himself before Vladimir Putin.
A senior administration official told the Associated Press that the White House plans to brief select members of Congress about the issue later today. Alex Perchet, ABC News, Washington.
We are just getting started here on GMSA on your Monday morning. It's 4:38, 80 degrees.
A couple of major airlines will soon be opening up all of their seats to passengers. Still to come, why that is causing some concern.
And a cry of support after the break, why many gathered here in San Antonio to say we support the blue.
And a look outside with live cam this morning, 80 degrees out there. The air is thick. You can almost see it. Is there going to be any break in this humidity? We will talk with Mike coming up in just a bit.
441, more than 100 people gathered outside San Antonio Public Safety Headquarters Sunday afternoon.
They were all there to show their support. Before the group arrived there, they marched through downtown chanting, "Defend the peacekeepers, they defend us." One of the organizers told our crew that demonstrators wanted to show officers they had their backs, and they're not okay with the hate they've seen shown toward police officers lately.
I just hope that the citizens will see this and wake up. I mean, sometimes you've got to stand up for right, and this is right. You don't want to defund our department. You want to let our men and women on the street know that we love them and know that we support them.
The demonstration follows weeks of protests in San Antonio and around the nation denouncing police brutality in the wake of the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Local calls for police reform have included changing the disciplinary process for officers and defunding the police. Now 442, still 80 degrees.
In the midst of this pandemic, American and United Airlines are going back to allowing passengers in those middle seats. It's a story that has a lot of people buzzing this morning. That's next in your GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, as more passengers are heading to the skies, Atlanta's airport predicting twice as many passengers to fly than it has seen over the past few weeks. And now, two of America's biggest airlines are loosening social distancing restrictions. American and United telling ABC News that all seats, including middle ones, are up for sale, something United has already been doing. American will open up those seats Wednesday. So, is it safe to fly?
It's a risk, like anything. I think there's a couple things you have to ask yourself before you fly. One, is it necessary? Do you really need to take that trip? Two, do you have any personal risk factors which put you at greater risk for COVID-19?
And coming up at 7 a.m., Dr. Jen Ashton weighs in live with what you need to know before boarding a plane. With your GMA First Look, I'm Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
446. They are two men who credit the staff at Brooke Army Medical Center with providing excellent care in their time of need.
But both now say the financial side of their respective hospital stays has created problems they continue to deal with long after they were released.
Dylan Collier examines the complications in this Defenders report.
I was wearing full gear like I was supposed to, helmet and everything. We always did.
And as Chris Dyckman rode to meet up with other members of his motorcycle club 2 years ago, that helmet likely saved his life. A full-size Chevy truck nailed Dyckman at Topperwine and Lookout Road, pinning him between the truck and bike, which was dragged before he was tossed from it.
Hit a curb, bounced off the curb, and slid into a field, and actually it was the fence line that I crashed into.
Dyckman's injuries,
basically laying the leg completely open,
some of which are still visible, included a badly damaged leg, back and arm fractures, and a rib cage that collapsed, lacerating the lung, which then also collapsed. He would spend nearly 70 days at Brooke Army Medical Center, much of that time in its intensive care unit. Because of recurring infections, he would make 4 more trips to BAMC. Dyckman did not have health insurance.
Basically, we ended up with 3 bills that were in the 6-figure range and multiple little bills anywhere from $1,000 to $60,000 every stint.
Which $60,000 is a little bill. I mean,
well,
that's
little when you see the ones that were as big as what they were.
All told, Dyckman says his bills topped $1.2 million. Since he's a civilian who received treatment at a military hospital, he is responsible for the full amount, which BAMC turned over to the U.S. Department of the Treasury, which recently turned it over to a collection agency.
That's such an astronomical amount of money. I would probably never make that up in my lifetime.
I opened this, and it was just smoke.
Luckily for Brenton Ferguson, he had health insurance when he suffered second-degree burns in a garage fire in late 2018. Ferguson, barehanded and barefoot, tossed several items that were on fire into the driveway of his Stone Oak home before rushing inside to save his children.
I looked over, and this whole hand was just like blistered and peeling off. My other hand, the fingertips were blistered up, and at that point I was like, oh, my feet hurt.
Although Ferguson's stay at BAMC's burn unit was brief, not even being the spouse of a BAMC employee could prevent him from later encountering billing problems.
Their confusion in their administration caused this issue.
BAMC officials declined our request for an interview for this story, and in a statement defended their handling of Ferguson's case, claiming they billed his insurance within filing deadlines and handed over the remaining debt to the U.S. Department of the Treasury only after it hadn't been paid in full and no payment plan was arranged. Ferguson, meanwhile, says the hospital flat out forgot to charge his insurance for his overnight stay and claims it then couldn't give him a straight answer on what portion of bills he still owed, despite call after call after call being made to its billing department.
This went on for like months and months and months.
The result, he and his wife's tax return was seized in April, and their credit has been damaged.
We've never contested paying it, we just wanted to know what we owed. And the fire actually sat right here.
For the Defenders, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Ferguson has filed an appeal with the Treasury Department for the $5,200 owed, but now says that hasn't moved forward because the government is waiting on BAMC to respond.
You can read more about this story right now on our website at KSAT.com.
449, let's check time saver traffic with Officer Marcus Trujillo.
Well, as far as the highways are concerned, we're still doing very, very well. That's Highway 90, 410. You can see not too many folks out there, so it is still early. Some folks are still waking up, still wishing it was Sunday all over again. A little bit of construction there, I-10 at Ralph Fair Road and all the way through I-10 Dominion. Traffic seems to be moving along fairly well. And this is 410 at Ingram. Normally this is very, very busy. Of course, not this early in the morning, so we still have time. Roads are dry for now, so as you head out, just make sure you buckle up. Put away those distractions this morning.
Even after all these years of working this shift, there's still part of my brain that is directing shallow breathing. Part of me still asleep right now. It just kind of happens. Even with the caffeine, I'm still, yeah.
Well, we'll wake you up when it's your turn.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Yeah. So there was some rain out there this weekend, Mike Esterhade. Not everybody got some.
Some folks got a couple of showers. There were a few decent downpours, a couple of thunderstorms. We had a big thunderstorm that moved through late last night up to the east of northeast of Austin and actually dumped a whole lot of rain up there. And there are a couple of decent downpours around the area yesterday. There was one little brief little spat of rain that moved on through about dinner time or so, or late afternoon, and lasted for about 5 minutes, and that was about it. But yeah, it sure was nice to see some of that rain out there this weekend. Now, as far as this morning, it'd be what happened to my picture? Well, it's gone. Anyway, oh, there it is. I'm sorry. It was just so dark out there. I couldn't see the lights with the banner there, but lots of clouds, and boy, it feels like it wants to rain. I mean, you could just kind of wring out the atmosphere because it is so humid out there. 80 here in town, 79 Randolph, 79 also in Port SA. Everybody is obviously well above normal as of right now, and these numbers, dew points, measure moisture in the atmosphere. When you get up into the, above 70, it's humid. You get into the mid 70s, like most areas are right now. It's really, really humid, especially prize winner being in the Helotes at 76 for a dew point temperature. And again, that's wet towel kind of humidity. Heat index right now, we've got heat indices add 3, 4, 5 degrees to the actual air temperatures, and that's what it feels like right now. Temperature wise, we are going to be held in check later on today. Going to make it up to 93. That's a normal high temperature, and then we'll add to that a little bit tomorrow, getting up into the about mid 90s, and got the heat index to deal with though, because later on today, because the humidity is going to be so high, we are going to be looking at heat index readings, upper 90s, low hundreds, and even getting up there, kind of the dangerous level around Carrizo Springs, around 107 for a heat index. So we have this nice southwesterly flow aloft in the atmosphere, and there's those thunderstorms that developed late last night up just to the east and northeast of Austin with some of that heavy rain and just those few little scattered showers late yesterday afternoon. There may be 1 or 2 of these showers trying to crop up later on this afternoon out to the west. We'll have to watch out for that. This computer model has a few of those developing, and then the thing is, you always got to watch those because sometimes they either die down or they like to just kind of just get going there and really last all night long. So that'll be something just to watch in the overnight hours, whether those decide to hold together. This computer model is not indicating that, but again, that's something we definitely should watch. And then we'll go through the same process tomorrow with lots of clouds in the morning and then seeing more sunshine in the afternoon, and we get progressively warmer as the week goes on. So today we're going to be up to 87 degrees, mostly cloudy skies at noon, kind of breezy, winds out of the south, about 10-20 miles per hour, a few gusts out there. And then I'm going to call it partly sunny skies, meaning kind of leaning more toward more clouds around here. Breezy with a few storms out to the west, 93 for a high temperature. And then tomorrow, chalk up 1 more degree, tack on 1 more degree, I should say. 95 Wednesday. We're going to make it into the upper 90s. 4th of July on Saturday. Going to be hotter than a firecracker. With the humidity, too.
You going to use that all week?
Probably.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it fits. If the shoe fits.
Yeah.
Get my money's worth out of it, so.
Tis the season.
Tis the season. Thank you, Mike. Right now, 454, 80 degrees.
The Rolling Stones are threatening to sue President Donald Trump's re-election campaign. We'll tell you why in this morning's Spotlight News.
A journey is a gift.
That's from the just-released teaser for Beyoncé's new visual album, Black is King. Based on music from last year's The Lion King, The Gift, the soundtrack album Beyoncé curated for The Lion King, Black is King's reportedly been in production since then and, quote, reimagines the lessons of The Lion King for today's young kings and queens in search of their own crowns. It'll premiere globally on Disney Plus July 31st. Beyoncé's last visual album was 2016's critically praised Lemonade, widely considered the best album of her career so far. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. The Rolling Stones are threatening to sue Donald Trump's re-election campaign to get them to stop playing their music at rallies, claiming they're ignoring their licensing agency's cease and desist order.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
More movie musical chairs. COVID-19 now pushing the Bill and Ted Face the Music Theater debut to August 28. And Men at Work's Colin Hay is 67. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Christopher Watson, ABC News.
2 minutes till 79 degrees.
Ahead in our next half hour, big changes could be coming to the iPhone and what may not be included. In your morning consumer headlines, what you need to know.
And lawsuits being filed as Texas bars are forced to close again. Just ahead, we'll hear from local bar owners about the suits and what might happen next.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
The Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance filing a lawsuit against the state after Governor Greg Abbott's order to shut down on Friday. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. Why the group is calling the order unjust.
Lots of humidity out there, pretty much par for the course as we get ready to wrap up the month of June. How is the beginning of July looking and the 4th of July weekend? We'll talk to Mike in a moment. Welcome back. It is 5 a.m. on your Monday, the 29th. And Myra Arthur is here this morning. I can hear the applause. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow.
It's more than a golf clap. Yes, yes.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's going to happen all day, so get used to the accolades.
Yeah, all week.
All week.
I'm going to be here all week.
Oh,
I don't know if your applause
is going to last all week. No, don't push it. No.
Hey, be happy I'm here.
Yeah, we are very happy.
Very happy. Very
Applause
happy.
tomorrow. Nah,
Mike, be nice, please.
Unless you bring donuts tomorrow. So,
okay,
boy,
he's not an intern.
The humidity is just sky high this morning, and temperatures are well above normal. We should be right around 73, low 70s in most areas. We're in the mid to upper 70s right now, and it's that top number at 73 degrees. Wow, it's like a wet towel. It's even higher, the humidity. And now, if you love humidity, you're going to love it when you step outside, but in some places it is even worse. And again, these temperatures are averaging upper 70s, low 80s around here. And look at some of these numbers, dew point temperatures. When you get up into the kind of the 74 range and higher than that, it's just ridiculously humid. It's kind of tropical rainforest kind of humidity. Canyon Lake, New Braunfels, Helotes, and even Stinson, Randolph, that very, very high humidity out there. It is also kind of breezy this morning. Wind is about 10-15 miles per hour. We do have a couple of wind gusts out there. Bernie, Kerrville reporting some wind gusts. We last half hour had a wind gust of 24 miles per hour out there at the airport. Mold's moderate, pigweed low. Still a little bit of dust is hanging around here, but it was you could tell the sky was a lot clearer yesterday than what it was on Saturday. Very warm and humid this morning, of course, partly sunny, breezy. A couple of storms going to be popping up out to the west later on today. Temperatures are going to be close to normal, but we've got the humidity to deal with, so that's going to make it feel like the upper 90s and even low hundreds. More sunshine as we go on throughout the rest of the week, and it is going to be heating up, so just about a degree or two every single day add to the high temperature. And then again, the 4th of July weekend, yep, it is going to be hot on a firecracker out there. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Here's Officer Marcus Trujillo.
Get the most bang for your buck out of that one, Mike. Right now, as we take a look at the roadways, we do have an accident out there, folks. So this is a major accident, 4800 block of West Commerce. Motor vehicle struck a building, so no word on any injuries or if there was anyone inside the building at that time. But you're going to see a number of emergency vehicles out there. It's right near General McMullen and West Commerce, so keep that in mind if you're headed out in that direction. Right now, 202 and Grayson, north and southbound lanes, still looking pretty good right now here in the downtown vicinity. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. Hey, we want to get to some late breaking news. Katrina Weber just arrived at the scene of a fire at a Shell gas station on South Acme Road here in San Antonio. Katrina, what can you tell us?
Well, good morning. The fire is out. It was here inside what is a building that houses a gas restaurant. Looks like it started on the subway side. Firefighters were able to get here pretty quickly and knock it out. It seems that police were the first ones to arrive. They got a call about a ringing burglar alarm. They got here, they saw smoke coming out of the building. They could see that smoke inside. They say they felt the window and it was hot to the touch. So they called the fire department immediately. They got here and knocked it down. But again, it does, this building does also house a gas station. So they had to cut a hole in the front of it and make sure that the fire had not spread. It did have some smoke damage inside that building. So for now, all of the power and everything down to the entire building. Both of these businesses closed until further notice. No firefighters were injured. And again, they got this out pretty quickly, but quite a bit of damage here. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you, Katrina. Texas bars are firing back at the state with a lawsuit after bars were ordered to shut down Friday as cases of COVID-19 across Texas continue to rise. This comes after the state has reached over 150,000 confirmed cases of the virus over the weekend. Sarah Acosta joins us live this morning with how bar owners are now reacting to this. Sarah.
Good morning, Myra. And for the most part, they are outraged, causing the Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance to file a lawsuit against the state on Saturday after Governor Greg Abbott's order for them to shut down at noon on Friday. In a Facebook post, the group's page on Saturday, the organization stated that support their members' constitutional right to protest the recent order by keeping their businesses open. The group said they heard from many of its members that they were displeased with the state's decision to close bars and nightclubs. In a statement, the organization said, quote, "Our businesses have once again unjustly been indefinitely closed without one shred of scientific evidence that bars and nightclubs pose any more of a public health hazard than a restaurant, grocery store, big box retailer, convenience store, health club, hair salon, or the many other business segments that cater to the public throughout the state of Texas," end quote. The group plans to file the lawsuit in both state and federal courts this week, seeking a temporary restraining order to end the governor's current order. The Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission has already suspended liquor permits for 2 bars that defied the governor's executive order. Now, starting today, Texas restaurants must push back their capacity from 75% to 50%. Reporting live from home, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Myra.
Right now on KSAT.com, early voting begins today for the runoff election in Baer County, and we got a look at who's on the ballot. There are 6 GOP runoff races and 12 on the Democratic side. If you remember, this runoff election was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic back in March. We have the full list up in this article now of those races and some background information on each race. Early voting runs from June 29th to July 10th, and runoff election day is July 14th. Voters who cast ballots in the March primary may only vote in the same party's runoff, but citizens who did not cast a ballot in March are free to vote in either party's runoff. Now, besides all that background information, we also have a list of polling places and a sample ballot. That's all on KSAT.com. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
New this morning, a man's recovering after he was shot over on the west side of town. Police tell us a man in his 40s was shot by a man in the 3400 block of Fredericksburg Road around 11 p.m. last night. Investigators were told several stories about how it happened, but know the victim was shot in the ankle and was taken to University Hospital. The suspect took off.
2 people are now in custody in connection to a string of thefts across Baer County. According to an arrest affidavit, 25-year-old Desiree Benavides Saucedo is accused of stealing products from several Ulta makeup stores and Old Navy stores over a span of several months. Police say Saucedo was with her 32-year-old Hector Alberto Perales back in February when that theft happened. The affidavit shows they stole from several other Old Navy stores thousands of dollars worth of clothing. Saucedo is facing theft charges and Perales is facing charges of engaging in organized crime.
Time check right now, 5:09, 79 degrees.
Still to come, another major corporation is hitting pause on its social media ads. Details in your morning's Tech Bites.
And this morning's Great Grad Series. This one is doing her part to help young women engage in the political process. Her story is coming up next, but let's go outside.
Yeah, let's take a look outside with live cam. 79 degrees out there. How's this weather going to shape up this week? We'll talk to Mike in just a bit.
5:12, welcome back. And he was just now waking up. Good morning. When schools went to online learning, it was an adjustment for just about everyone.
A big one.
Yeah.
Family Service has been working with students during this time to keep them connected while they're at home.
That's right. And Stephanie Cerna reports this summer through the Family Service transition camps, they're helping 5th and 8th grade students stay on track with their schoolwork and make their transition to the next grade level that much smoother.
I am so excited to celebrate all of our accomplishments together.
Latika Sims has always been involved in student government. At Texas A&M University San Antonio, she was a student body president, president of the Student Government Association, and also the treasurer of the Delta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. She was a business management major, but her heart is in civic engagement and politics.
So long term, I want to run for office. I want to start this nonprofit. It's going to be centered on youth, regardless of whether I change the direction it goes in, but it was going to be centered on youth and educating them about their rights, especially as it pertains to like employment rights.
Latika had an internship which eventually became a paid position under District 2 Councilwoman Jada Andrews Sullivan.
Really want to push civic engagement for women and especially women of color. Representation is key and it's lacking right now. Period. It is. It baffles me sometimes about how long it's taken for even our city council to look the way it looks. We have some amazingly powerful women of color in our city council, and it took way too long for it to get this diverse.
Latika has been selected for a fellowship with Ignite National, which is a nonpartisan nonprofit that encourages young women to actively engage in the political process, empowering them to run for office. Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News.
Wish her the best. 5:14, 79 degrees.
Just ahead, NASA is looking for help designing a new toilet. Think about that one for a little bit.
And it'll only cost $132,000.
We'll be right back.
To be honest, a little dust, it never bothered me until I found out what it actually was. Dust mite droppings? Ew. Dead skin cells? Gross. So now I grab my Swiffer Sweeper and heavy duty dusters.
Dusters has 3 layers that grab, trap, and lock away gross dust.
Gotcha. And for dust on my floors, I switch to my sweeper. The textured cloths grab, trap, and lock dirt and hair no matter where dust bunnies hide. No more heebie-jeebies. Glad I stopped cleaning and started Swiffering.
Need better sleep? Try Nature's Bounty Sleep 3, a unique tri-layer supplement that calms you, helps you fall asleep faster, and stay asleep longer. Great sleep comes naturally with Sleep 3, only from Nature's Bounty.
Everyone is at risk for enamel loss. When you drink or eat something that's acidic, it sucks the minerals out of the tooth surface. Pronamel is formulated to help deliver minerals to the tooth surface to help reharden and strengthen your enamel.
In today's Tech Bites, Starbucks pulls its social media ads. The company says the move is not part of the ad boycott against Facebook. During its pause, Starbucks says it will be discussing how to stop hate speech online with civil rights groups and its media partners. And reports say Apple's next iPhone is going to be sold all on its own. A well-regarded Apple analyst says the new phone will arrive without a power adapter or earbuds. It will be sold separately. The move allows Apple to keep the price around that of the previous model. Finally, NASA is looking for some help. Its new Lunar Loo Challenge is meant to find the next toilet that will work on the International Space Station and the surface of the moon. Models can be submitted until August 17th. The designer who wins will earn $20,000. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
Right now it's just about 5:19.
All right, my drive to work, it was easy peasy today. I'm not used to that.
Marcus, how's it going out there for the other folks? I know there was that major accident earlier over on West Commerce.
That accident's still in place, and Myra, that's because no one's awake right now. As we take a look
I'm halfway there. How about that?
You're doing better than I am. Right now, as we take a look at the roadways, we do still have that major accident, not on a highway, however, on a busy street nonetheless. This is one of our major thoroughfares over to the west side, 4800 block of West Commerce. That's where we have that motor vehicle that did collide with a building out there. So that's still in the clearing stages. And then take a look outside, 202 and Grayson, still looking pretty good. Those aren't drops on the lens. I think that's just dirt from the dust.
Yeah,
Dust.
that dust was crazy on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about it for a week or two and nothing really happened Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we wake up and it's like we live on Luke Skywalker's home planet for a moment.
That's what, and then yesterday looked a lot better. I mean, you could actually see some nice blue skies in between some of the, in the breaks in the clouds and everything, but it looks like we may get another little batch of dust. There's some showing up on one of the satellite pictures. I'm going to show you that in a second. First of all, yeah, we did have a couple of thunderstorms out there. It was very few and far between yesterday, but you may have seen, like around Carrizo Springs, beautiful shot right there. Notice how there was some clear skies as well mixed in, so it wasn't like everybody was just socked in. We've got wow, just some hazy conditions out there right now. Temperatures are extremely warm. We're in the upper 70s, low 80s around much of the area. And again, keep showing these dew points. The measure of moisture in the atmosphere, this is how you figure out what relative humidity is. And when you get them up in these numbers up in the mid 70s, that means it's just darn hot and humid out there. And we do actually have some heat index readings to deal with right now. So it feels like about 3-4 degrees above the actual air temperature around much of the area. And as far as temperatures later on today, we are going to be on paper going to be right where it should be, right around low 90s, upper 90s off there around the Rio Grande Valley. And then tomorrow we're going to be kind of adding to it just to chalk up one more couple of degrees here and there. Still mid to upper 90s around the area. But what doesn't take into account with those numbers are these numbers, the heat index readings, which are going to be well up into the upper 90s and low hundreds today and pretty much throughout the rest of the week because the humidity is definitely going to be sticking around. So we did have a few of those scattered showers and even a couple of thunderstorms late yesterday in the overnight hours. There was a lot of heavy rain in the overnight hours late last night and earlier this morning up there around Bastrop up north to the east of Austin. Actually some flooding around there as well. That has all moved on out. And throughout the rest of today, pretty much nothing as far as any rain. Although there may be a few showers and thunderstorms trying to pop up out to the west. And what's going to be interesting is to see if some of those do tend to hold together, which sometimes they do. They like to hold together in the overnight hours. So even though this computer model is not indicating that, just kind of keep an eye out for that. And then going into tomorrow, we'll basically just have cloudy skies in the morning and then sunshine in the afternoon. And as far as the country is concerned, well, not much. I mean, there's a big storm system off there to the northwest. That's pretty much about it. Now, we were talking about dust, and it does look like there may be a little more dust that's showing up here in the Caribbean. And with the trade winds that go from east to west, that may be coming in here by later on in the week. So we'll just kind of have to be on the lookout for perhaps a little bit more dust. Also, warmer temperatures, hotter temperatures this week. That's going to be the trend. 87 degrees today at noon, mostly cloudy skies, kind of on the breezy side. And then later on today, I'm going to call it partly sunny skies, a few more clouds than sunshine out there and still kind of breezy, about 10-20 mile per hour winds. One or two of those storms well out to the west later on this afternoon. Then going into the next couple of days, temperatures are just going to continue to go up about a degree or two each and every day. We're looking at upper 90s by the weekend and a little bit more sunshine in the afternoon. Still plenty of humidity.
It's going to be hotter than
Hotter than hot, yes, and then a firecracker. So that one doesn't count.
Does that count?
Oh, it doesn't count. Okay, all right, because you're at 2 and that.
The firecracker tally is going up.
Yeah, you're at 2 right now, but you're okay. So you're holding in reserve for the rest of the newscast?
Still got an hour and a half to go. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Not the last we've heard of it.
What a measured guy you are. Restraint. 523, 79 degrees.
Just ahead, Josh Gad, or Olaf, as he's known in my house, reunites the Ferris Bueller cast for some memorable moments.
Oh, yeah, we've got to check that out coming up. Let's take a look at all of your lottery numbers, and here they are, the smorgasbord of numbers. Pick 3, 224, Fireball 3, Daily 4, 4600, Fireball 4. Then we have Cash 5, 5, 7, 11, 18, 20. Lotto Texas 3, 9, 15, 21, 37, 48. And finally, Powerball 9, 36, 49, 56, 62. Powerball 8, Power Play 2. .526 in the spotlight. We're getting a look at Beyonce's visual album, plus Josh Gad reunites the Ferris Bueller cast.
CNN's Douglas Hyde has the details in this morning's Hollywood Minute.
The ancestors never left you.
Beyonce just announced she's teaming up with Disney Plus for her visual album Black is King. She unveiled a new teaser trailer for the upcoming film, which she wrote, directed, and produced. Black is King is based on music from her album The Lion King, The Gift, and debuts July 31st on Disney+.
I'm not going to say it. Say what, Matt? Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Life has moved pretty fast. Hard to believe it's been 34 years this month since Ferris Bueller's Day Off was released. Actor Josh Gad got the cast together again for his Reunited Apart YouTube series. Matthew Broderick, Jennifer Grey, and the rest of the gang all zoomed in and reminisced about the making of the John Hughes comedy classic. They even relived some of their most famous scenes.
Bueller, Bueller, Bueller.
Yes! Anybody?
In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
Bring out a very special guest.
Wow, I hadn't seen some of those faces in a long time.
A long time.
Everybody's getting old.
I know.
That's
We're
how
doing it right along with them.
Oh, yeah, we are. 528, 79 degrees.
Coffee helps, though.
Yep.
Ahead at 5:30, new research shows earned income tax credits could impact how kids score on academic tests. We'll take a closer look at who is more likely to benefit, plus the difference it could mean for your kids' education and your wallet.
Let's go outside with live cam right now. There's I-10 at the Dominion, and we're seeing some heavier traffic inbound. There's I-10 at Heuerman Road. You're watching GMSA. We'll check back in with Officer Marcus Trujillo after this. Good morning to you. It is 5:30 on your Monday. It is June 29th, and Myra Arthur is with us this morning, which is amazing news.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I get to say good morning. I never say good morning sitting here.
No, you don't.
I'm usually up at this time, but this is not what it looks like at this time. And there are diapers involved.
We understand, and we're glad that you're on this side of the screen this time. Mike is back too after a week off last week. How was your rest and recharge week, sir?
Nice, except for all that dust that we had on set, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice to see some rain around there. The humidity, boy, it is definitely up there, and really can't see it too well in this picture, but we do have plenty of clouds hanging around here, and that's helped to hold temperatures up along with the humidity. So we are about 5-6 degrees above normal right now. 79 out there at the airport, 80 Castroville, 79 in Floresville, and then you've got these numbers, dew point temperatures, measure moisture in the atmosphere. Again, when you get above 70, you start to really feel the humidity. When you get about 74, 75, and you really start to feel the humidity, and that's going to be the situation when you step outside your front door, especially in Helotes with those dew points up to 76 right now. Kind of breezy as well this morning. Nice little wind out there. I don't know if it really helps as far as trying to cool anything off because it is so humid. Still have some dust hanging around. This was yesterday's count, of course. Mold's moderate, pigweed is on the low side. And throughout the rest of today, 87 degrees at noon. Going to call it partly cloudy, partly sunny. We'll have some kind of mixture of sunshine and clouds today. 93 for a high temperature. A couple of those storms off to the west later on this afternoon. That will pretty much be about it. Now 93 just on paper doesn't sound all that bad, but humidity is still going to be sticking around, so we'll still have heat index readings well into the upper 90s and low hundreds. Going to be hot as we close out June and welcome in the month of July. Details coming up, and we'll look at the holiday weekend forecast coming up. Time saver traffic right now. Here's Officer Marcus Trujillo. What's going on, sir?
Well, Mike, as we take a look at the roadways, still have that major accident in the clearing stages. 4800 block of West Commerce. It's going to be just past General McMullen, so keep that in mind. Once again, 4800 block of West Commerce right there, just past General McMullen for a major accident. Now, Highway 90, 410, so far still looking pretty good out there, so no issues on the highways. 10 at Woodstone, east and westbound lanes so far running smoothly. So the roads are still dry, so that's great news. And 35, 410 on the northeast side, so far, no problems there. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. We want to get back to late breaking news. About a half an hour ago, Katrina Weber arrived on the scene of a fire out of a Shell gas station on South Acme Road. Katrina, what's the latest?
Well, good morning. Firefighters have packed up and left, but they did say that their attention in this fire was on a soda machine inside the Subway restaurant side of this building. If you notice, this is it houses a gas station and the Subway restaurant. They believe that the fire did start in the restaurant portion of this. We have some video to show you the response from the fire department. Almost a dozen units coming here earlier this morning. We understand that police were the first ones to discover this fire. They got a call about a burglar alarm that had gone off around 3 o'clock this morning. They got out here. They could see smoke inside the restaurant. They felt the windows. It was hot. They immediately called the fire department, who came and knocked down this fire. They did also knock a hole in the front of the store portion of the building because they wanted to make sure that the flames had not spread there. That did have some smoke damage, but no one injured here this morning. Firefighters put this out. Despite the damage, no injuries here this morning. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, Katrina. Police are investigating a motorcycle accident that left a woman in the hospital. According to police, this happened around 1 this morning in the westbound lanes of 1604. Police say a man and woman were riding their bike together when they lost control and flipped the bike. The woman broke her leg in the accident and was taken to a nearby hospital.
Right now it is 5:35. The coronavirus has now claimed more than 500,000 lives worldwide, according to Johns Hopkins University.
More than a quarter of that total comes from the United States, which has the highest reported death toll.
CNN's John Lawrence reports.
COVID-19 remains a global threat.
We have a microscopic virus. It's putting us on our knees.
The U.S. in particular has yet to get a grip on the pandemic. At least 31 states are seeing a rise in week-to-week COVID-19 infections.
They're probably looking at having to go back on a very strict lockdown to suppress the transmission.
Connecticut and Rhode Island are the only two states reporting a drop in new weekly cases, according to Johns Hopkins University.
If we don't use face coverings in settings where we can't social distance, if we don't practice appropriate personal hygiene, we're going to see spread of disease.
Although President Trump has avoided wearing masks in public, some Republicans are recommending that the public do so.
We encourage everyone to wear a mask in the affected areas and where you can't maintain social distancing.
Until we find a vaccine, these are really important.
At least 13 states have paused or held back their reopening plans due to the rise in cases.
We want to get the economy back, but you've got to do it in a measured way. And now we're seeing the consequences of community spread, which is even more difficult to contain than spread in a well-known physical location.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Monday morning time check. It is 5:37, 79 degrees.
Many top performers came together in a virtual concert that raised more than $7 billion. Who that money will benefit next.
It's a lot of money.
It sure is.
Outside with live cam as we start off your work week. Short work week for some, as they may have Friday the 3rd off. And of course, heading into the 4th on Saturday. We'll get an update on that forecast with Mike Ostrage. Stick around.
Madrid City Hall lit up the skies with drones on Friday, a tribute to COVID-19 victims and for those who have been fighting the virus in Spain. 40 drones with multicolored LED lights flew over that city, creating different shapes, including the heart you see there, messages of hope, and the flags of other countries fighting this coronavirus pandemic. The location of this performance was kept a secret ahead of time to help avoid any large crowds.
A star-studded virtual concert hosted by Dwayne Johnson raised nearly $7 billion cash and loan guarantees to assist the poor around the world who've been impacted by the pandemic. Lin-Manuel Miranda with the original Broadway cast of Hamilton. Miley Cyrus and Coldplay were a few of the performers. Billy Porter, Charlize Theron, and Kerry Washington were just a few of the celebrities who recorded heartfelt speeches for the event.
Dance teacher Melissa Hoffman wanted to give her 500 students the chance to show off what they learned throughout the year. Well, instead of canceling this year's recital, she broke it up into 18 half-hour mini shows spread out over the weekend. Safety measures included temperature checks, masks, and disinfecting the stage between those shows.
Well, that's one way to do it.
I know, so many things have been canceled, postponed, or gone virtual, but it's just not the same.
It is not the same. 5:41, 79 degrees.
Filing taxes, never fun, but it's something we have to do every year. Still ahead on GMSA, the tips you need to know as that deadline quickly approaches.
5:43, 25 million Americans received the federal earned income tax credit last year, which supplemented their income on average about $2,500.
Now, new research shows this credit could impact how kids score on academic tests. Erica Hernandez with that story.
Here's your paycheck. Thank you.
Filing taxes isn't something most Americans look forward to, but it could offer benefits to your pocketbook and your kids' math and reading skills. Researchers examined data on 4,412 children between ages 5 and 14. More than half were Black or Hispanic. They found when parents experienced increases in income due to larger earned income tax credits, their kids performed better on an achievement test. Even a $1,000 increase in family income helped to raise children's math and reading scores. Low and moderate income families may be eligible up to $6,500 back in tax credits. But research shows millions don't receive the cash because they don't know about credit or don't file their taxes. And non-native English speakers are less likely to apply than those who speak English. Experts say filing your taxes is especially important this year because it's how COVID-19 relief money is given. The bottom line, you can't benefit if you don't file.
The U.S. has extended the tax filing deadline until July 15th, though you still have time. And if you prefer, there's a Spanish version of the Earned Income Tax Credit Assistant to help you out. Visit irs.gov for more details. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
5:45. If 2020 were a normal year, the NBA Finals would be over and we'd already know who the champs are. Ideally, we would have had a Spurs championship banner and a parade and all would be right in the world. Again, in an ideal 2020.
Yes. However, we are still in the middle of this pandemic, but it seems like there is just as much, if not more, sports news than we would have mid-season. Our Max Massey joining us live here in the studio to break it all down. Max, let's start with football. So what is the plan right now?
Good morning, guys. It is a good morning. It is a Monday morning. We're here, ready to go, caffeinated. I can see by the smile on Mike's face, ear to ear, always. Mike's also a Lions fan. Don't hold it against him. Either way, right now going forward with the NFL season, cautious optimism that the season can begin as normal. But we've already seen the cancellation of a game, the Hall of Fame game, and it was supposed to be the Cowboys and the Steelers on August 6th. So in this new surge, only time will tell if we will see a season, and we will see a season on time. But we have big free agency news, so let's talk about it. We are talking Cam Newton, and we are talking the New England Patriots. There were some skeptics about the Patriots' 2020 season when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick had their offseason schism. Tom is now the face of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he brought Gronk along with him. Hopefully, we get to see Gronk in just a few minutes. Hold on to that. But today, not about Tom. We are talking about Cam Newton coming off that injury-riddled 2019 season. Let's not forget, he brought the 2015 Panthers to a 15-1 record. He brought them to the Super Bowl, where they lost to Von Miller and the Broncos. Yes, technically Peyton Manning was the quarterback, but Von Miller clearly the MVP for a reason. This is big for the Pats because before signing Cam in just the last 24 hours, they only had Jared Stidham, yes, Stephenville High School and Baylor/Auburn quarterback, and Brian Hoyer, mediocre at best. So anyone who thought the Pats would tank for Trevor Lawrence this year, today, not exactly great evidence for that argument. And guys, Mark, you talked about it. Possible banner, possible championship parade. It is time to talk to Spurs. Our San Antonio Spurs set to resume their 2019-2020 season on July 1st in the Orlando bubble. Speaking about the possibility of an NBA season, well, reports show that 302 players have been tested for COVID-19 as they get ready to resume team activities. 16 testing positive, so about 5%. Assuming the schedule in the bubble goes on as planned, we now have the Spurs schedule. There it is, July 31st, and this is a slew of games before the playoffs can officially start. About 8 games to see if they actually make the playoffs. A few headliners, shout out to the Philadelphia 76ers. We have Denver in there, Utah Jazz, who actually just lost one of their key players. And of course, New Orleans, Zion, live on KSAT 12 News. KSAT 12, technically no news there, unless you want to see news about the Spurs winning. And guys, this is what I was talking about just a couple minutes ago. I told you we were talking Gronk. Valuable lesson to learn today. Don't play horse against Shaq. And if you do play horse against Shaq, make sure you go first, because he not only went Superman on Gronk, but he ended the game literally because he dunked and broke the rim down. And Gronk even tried to be nice. He wore an old school Shaq jersey when he was with the Magic. But, you know, it's hard to beat it. Here it is. Here's a replay real quick.
Ready? Here we go.
There it is. I mean,
here's the deal. If Shaq didn't do it, that's something Gronk would have done on his own.
Spike the rim.
It would have just taken 2 arms for Gronk to pull it down.
Very true.
And maybe some dance moves.
And you were talking about the Spurs schedule. Why did the Sixers game jump out to you, Max?
Well, the Sixers are the 6th seed in the East right now. Very competitive team and not in the West. So it'll be interesting. Okay. Also, could be really interesting because we don't have LaMarcus Aldridge. So how they face up against Joel Embiid. Right. That could be good, too.
Are you a Sixers fan?
You know, I can't confirm or deny.
Okay. No. Gotcha. That's how it's going to be?
Probably could.
Okay. I'm going to say yes, he is.
Thanks, guys.
Max, good to have you this morning. It is interesting to see Cam Newton headed over to the Patriots, an incentive-laden 1-year deal. Again, Max, thank you.
All right, let's take a look out there. Time saver traffic. Let's see what's going on the roads. Officer Trujillo.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're off
on vacation too.
You're off for a week. That's all right. Right now, no issues. We do have some fast-moving people here in the studio, but nothing out there on the roadway. 10 at Bernie looks pretty good. Bernie Sage Road, so far, no issues there. Highway is still looking pretty good this morning, and roads are still dry.
You know, Jamie there, our director, did that on purpose. She could have waited a half a beat for me to get out of the way. Nope.
No. This is way more fun, guys.
Thank you, Jamie. Yeah. So, love you. Yeah. She said I'm on my own here. So, humid.
Yes. Thick
warm.
air out there.
Warm and humid.
Yeah, and it's just going to stay this way as we close out in June. Can you believe June's already coming to an end tomorrow?
No, I cannot.
I know. 4th of July weekend.
Yes. How was that this weekend?
It's going to be a good-looking weekend, but it's going to be very hot. Actually, temperatures are going to continue to go up as we go through the next few days.
Hotter than a what?
Pardon me?
Hotter than a what?
Just wait. We do have... As you can see, it was a beautiful sunset yesterday in Kerrville. Now, some folks did get right around late afternoon, a couple of those showers that popped up, even a few thunderstorms. We had some leftover well up to the north, right around Austin area late last night, early this morning. Those have now fizzled off. And this is our camera over there at 10 at 4:10. And as you can see, it's still obviously pretty dark out there with a lot of clouds, kind of hiding any sort of moon that might be shining. Temperatures right now. Wind is a factor this morning, but temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s as of right now. And the humidity is just, again, sky high, as we've been talking about, with these dew points in the kind of 74 and higher range, which means it's like a wet towel out there. So we do actually have a heat index to deal with right now at about 3-4 degrees to the actual air temperature, and then at about maybe 20 to these numbers later on today. And so that's what it's going to actually feel like. So temperatures are going to be up in the low 90s, upper 90s off in the Rio Grande Valley. These numbers are very close to their respective normals, and we'll do about the same thing tomorrow, although we may add a degree or so to some of these high temperatures. But you got to factor in the humidity, which is still going to be sticking around, so it won't be dropping. It doesn't look like all that much today, which means our heat index reading is going to be well up into the upper 90s and low hundreds, and even looking at kind of 105 or higher in parts of the Rio Grande Valley, which is where your body just does not cool itself very efficiently. So especially off to the southwest later on today, definitely take it easy. So we're going to have a lot of clouds hanging around today. Some of these thunderstorms are going to try and develop well out to the west later on this afternoon, just 1 or 2 of them. And the thing we have to watch out for sometimes, now this computer model really doesn't indicate this, but sometimes these storms out to the west, of course, like to hold together, and then they live overnight and work their way to the east. So that'll just be something to kind of keep in mind, like I said, even though computer models aren't indicating that. And then tomorrow we start off with clouds and get a little more sunshine coming up later on in the afternoon. And going back 12 hours to the satellite radar loop, there were some of those showers, those brief ones that moved through, some down at the southwest, up there just to the east of Austin, around Bastrop in the overnight hours, and around the rest of the country. I got a big low up there right around Idaho, Montana. It has no effect on our weather whatsoever. And as far as dust, of course, we had a bunch of it around here on Saturday. It looks like we may see another little stream of dust coming in here as the week rolls on, as that moves in toward the Caribbean throughout the rest of the week. So forecast today, going to have a fair amount of clouds around here. Mostly cloudy skies still at noon, 87 degrees, kind of on the breezy side. We've got a bit of a breeze this morning, and we'll continue that throughout the rest of today. Winds about 10-20 miles per hour. Partly sunny skies with 1 or 2 of those storms out to the west. And again, number-wise, we're close to normal, 93, 94, but you have to factor in the humidity. Then we continue to creep upward a degree or so every day. 96 on Thursday, and we're looking at 98s on Saturday, 4th of July, red, white, and blue. And it's going to be hotter than a firecracker, and you can chalk one up there.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's the tally?
He's at 3.
He's at
3 right now.
Okay.
And he's spread them out nicely over the last, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
The restraint you're showing is remarkable and shocking. 5:54 right now, 79 degrees.
Let's take a look outside with TransGuide. We've seen a few minor problems, nothing too major out there. Traffic definitely starting to pick up this morning, though. Thanks for being with us. You're watching GMSA.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, that grim new milestone in the coronavirus pandemic. 2.5 million cases in the United States and the death toll rising to more than 125,000. Some states are now starting to roll back their reopening or hitting pause. Hospitals are feeling the strain and bracing for the surge in patients. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar will join us live right here on GMA.
Well, more than 500 million lives have been lost as coronavirus continues to spread. What we can expect as cases rise here in the U.S., that is next on GMSA. And outside right now, we will be right back.
Baer County reaches over 10,000 COVID-19 cases over the weekend. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. Why city leaders are concerned as hospitalizations continue to increase.
Plus, we have details on a West Side shooting. What San Antonio police have to say about the victim's story, and the latest on his condition.
And a look outside with live cam this morning. It is a muggy Monday out there after what was a pretty hazy weekend. We're going to talk to Mike about your forecast here in just a few minutes.
Live from KSAT 12. Good morning, San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning. It's Monday. It is June 29th, and that familiar voice and that face is Myra Arthur here all week on GMSA.
Thanks so much for having me. It's nice to say good morning and be with you guys.
It's good to hear you say good morning, and we're lucky to have her here all week long. Mike is back from a week off.
Because it's so rare to see. I mean, every once in a while, if I'm here in the afternoon or something like that, I say, hey, Myra, hi.
I know.
Myra?
Whenever we do cross paths.
Well,
then
that's what we schedule Christmas parties for.
Literally,
which is rare.
the last time Mark and I hung out.
Welcome.
Christmas party.
Yeah, it was a hot weekend. It was hazy over the weekend. And boy, just wait till you step outside this morning because it is hot. It is humid out there. We are in the mid-upper 70s around much of the area. We did have a couple of 80s still hanging around. Well, New Braunfels still at 80 degrees as of right now. And again, keep talking about, so we always talk about dew point temperatures, measure moisture in the atmosphere. And these numbers right now are in the mid-70s and 74 Randolph, Stinson, Port of 76 Castroville, as well as Helotes. And again, that is just, it is swampy out there. It's like rainforest kind of humidity, and there's a little bit of a breeze. Wind is out of the southeast about 10-15 miles per hour. We had a couple of gusts earlier this morning, and it's going to be on the breezier side throughout the day. Dust is still hanging around, although it was a lot clearer yesterday than compared to what we had on Saturday. Mold's moderate and pigweed is on the low side. Temperatures, we're going to be basically holding steady this morning, right around upper 70s, mid to upper 70s, and then we are going to make it up into the mid and upper 80s by noon with still a lot of clouds hanging around here. There may be 1 or 2 showers or thunderstorms well off to the west later on this afternoon, but for the rest of us, it's just going to be hot and humid. 93. That doesn't sound all that bad, but then factor in the humidity and you can add a good 5, maybe 6, 7 degrees to those numbers. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes and a look ahead to the long July 4th weekend. Time saver traffic. Officer Marcus Trujillo looking at the map. Nothing?
Looks pretty good right now. The highway is clear of any incidents, so that's the great news. So we take a closer look through TransGuide. Flip through a couple of cameras here, and you can see 410 at Culebra, no problems, all the way around to 410 at Highway 151. Moving over to Highway 90 and 410 on the far southwest side so far, no problems there. And we check on High 10 at Woodstone. East and westbound lanes still running smoothly. Mark and Myra?
Marcus, thank you. If your phone went off Saturday evening, you saw a push alert from the city urging residents to stay home after the highest number of cases of COVID-19 yet was reported.
That's after Baer County reaches over 10,000 cases of COVID-19. Sarah Acosta joins us live at home this morning with these latest numbers. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Myra and Mark. It was another record-breaking weekend with the most ever recorded cases on Saturday of 795 COVID-19 cases in Baer County. Now, currently in Baer County and in the city, there's over 10,000 cases, 10,147 cases of COVID-19. Yesterday, 495 cases were recorded. And Saturday, that record-breaking number, like I said earlier, 795 cases were added to the list. Now, 2 new deaths were reported, bringing the death toll to 109 people. A total of 3,150 people, or 31% of those COVID-19 patients, have recovered, leaving 6,888, or 68% of cases, still battling the virus. Hospitalizations are also continuing to increase, causing concern for city leaders. As of Sunday, there are 27% of available staffed hospital beds and 72% of available ventilators. Governor Greg Abbott met with Vice President Mike Pence Sunday afternoon in Dallas to discuss the rapid increase of cases of COVID-19 across the state. Now, in addition to bars having to shut down on Friday at noon, today restaurants will have to scale back their capacity, no longer allowing 75% of patrons inside their buildings, but scaling back to 50% under that new order. Reporting live from home, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Myra.
Thank you, Sarah. Coronavirus outbreak also continues to rapidly spread around the country and globe this morning. That virus now being blamed for more than 500,000 deaths, including 125,000 Americans. ABC's Andrea Fujii has the latest as businesses like bars start closing down once again.
This morning, at least a dozen cities and states rolling back reopening as coronavirus cases surge. On Sunday, states reported 42,000 new cases. California shutting down bars in Los Angeles and several other counties just 1 week after LA bars reopened from the lockdown. As cases grow in Pittsburgh, starting Tuesday, the city's restaurants and bars can't serve alcohol. It will be takeout only. White House officials sounding the alarm.
The window is closing. We have to act, and people as individuals have to act responsibly. We need to social distance. We need to wear our face coverings.
In Texas, Vice President Mike Pence also stressing the need for masks.
Wearing a mask is just a good idea.
For nearly a week now, Texas has had more than 5,000 new cases a day. In Houston and San Antonio, millions of residents received an emergency text urging them to stay home to reduce the virus spread. So far, more than 125,000 people have died in the U.S., including Allie Guidry from Louisiana. The pregnant 29-year-old, whose family said she had no underlying health issues, died after 3 weeks on a ventilator. Doctors were able to deliver her baby 4 months early.
Take the virus seriously, but don't stop living your life. Just be cautious, because when you think it can't happen to you, it can happen.
7 states shattering new case records this weekend, including Florida. Broward County joining Miami-Dade, closing beaches for the upcoming 4th of July weekend. But so far, the governor refusing to issue a statewide order, saying younger people are driving up the numbers. In Arizona, the state setting back-to-back records for hospitalizations. Only 13% of ICU beds are available. Cases in Nevada also rising. 3 weeks after Las Vegas casinos reopened, Caesars now saying an employee died after testing positive. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Right now at 6:07, there's a lot going on in D.C. and here in Texas, and a few headlines you may have missed.
Vice President Mike Pence hosting an event here in the Lone Star State, and President Donald Trump facing a new Twitter controversy. Joining us in the studio this morning is Max Massey with all the details. Morning, Max.
Good morning, guys. We can't talk politics without talking voting. Today, a crucial day for Texas politics. Well, early voting starts today for the primary runoff in Texas. 35 congressional, legislative, and state board nominations up for grabs. Eric Hernandez has much more coming up, but right now we are talking about this guy on your screen, Vice President Mike Pence, staying with Texas News. While visiting Dallas, the vice president promised Texans we will bounce back from the recent surge in the cases of coronavirus we've seen. The vice president also emphasizing the importance of wearing a mask, reducing that further spread. According to rally organizers, nearly 2,200 people attended the Celebrate Freedom rally. And while at the First Baptist Dallas Church, the vice president also telling Americans to turn to faith during this moment in history. He also added, quote, working with your governor, we will put the health of the people of the Lone Star State first, end quote. And President Donald Trump now in hot water this morning again because of a recent tweet. Yesterday, the president retweeting approvingly of a video showing one of his supporters chanting, quote unquote, white power, a racist slogan associated with white supremacy. He later deleted the tweet, and the White House has issued a statement saying the president had not heard the one statement on the video. The video appeared to have been taken at Villages, a Florida retirement community, showed dueling demonstrations between Trump's supporters and those who oppose him. And staying with President Donald Trump, well, he has denied that he was made aware of the United States intelligence officials' conclusions that Russia was secretly offering bounties to Taliban-linked militants for killing American troops in Afghanistan. The intelligence assessments came amid Trump's push to withdraw the United States from Afghanistan and suggested that Russia was making overtures to militants as the United States and Taliban were hosting talks to end this long-running war. And the Trump administration set to brief select members on Congress about these Russia matters later today. Myra, Mark.
Right now on KSAT.com, early voting begins today for the runoff election in Baer County, and we got a look at who's on the ballot. There are 6 GOP runoff races and 12 on the Democratic side. If you remember, this runoff election was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic back in March. We have the full list up in this article now of those races and some background information on each race. Early voting runs from June 29th to July 10th, and runoff election day is July 14th. Voters who cast ballots in the March primary may only vote in the same party's runoff, but citizens who did not cast a ballot in March are free to vote in either party's runoff. Now, besides all that background information, we also have a list of polling places and a sample ballot. That's all on KSAT.com. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
New this morning, a man was taken to the hospital after San Antonio police say that he was shot late last night. According to police, a man in his 40s was shot by a younger man in the 3400 block of Fredericksburg Road. That was around 11 o'clock. They say after hearing 3 different stories, the victim claimed he was shot in the ankle by the gunman. That suspect then took off. The shooting victim was taken to University Hospital in stable condition. What happened is still under investigation.
In your other headlines, Kerr County Sheriff says a child's body has been recovered from the Guadalupe River. Sheriff Rusty Earlser says the child was in either a canoe or kayak sometime Sunday afternoon when it flipped, tossing the child into the water. That child reportedly less than 2 years old. Officials believe it happened on the river somewhere between the towns of Hunt and Ingram. Details on the incident remain under investigation by Texas Parks and Wildlife.
In Comal County, the sheriff's office there is looking into the death of a man after he was found on the side of the road. The man's body was discovered around 10 a.m. Sunday morning in the 4000 block of South Cranes Mill Road in Canyon Lake. According to the Comal County Sheriff's Facebook page, the man appears to be in his 40s and is believed to have suffered some kind of neck injury. They're asking anyone with information to please contact deputies. That number is 830-620-3400.
Time check, 6:11, 79 degrees.
Still to come, an Apple analyst says the new iPhone 12, we're already at 12, will not come with its usual accessories. What you should know before making that purchase.
Plus, helping students from going from in-person to online learning. Stephanie Cerna tells us how Family Services is making the transition to the next grade level a little bit smoother.
And a look outside with live cam this morning, 79 degrees, a humid start to your week. We'll have Mike's forecast coming up in just a bit.
Welcome back. 6:15 on your Monday morning. Teachers, parents, and students everywhere were forced to make a big adjustment when schooling went from in-person to online. Family Services has been working with students during this time to keep them connected while they are at home.
It's been a struggle for some people. And as Stephanie Cerna reports, this summer through the Family Service transition camps, they're helping 5th and 8th grade students stay on track with their schoolwork and make that transition to the next grade level a lot smoother.
I am so excited to celebrate all of our accomplishments together.
Latika Sims has always been involved in student government. At Texas A&M University San Antonio, she was the student body president of the Student Government Association, and also the treasurer of the Delta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. She was a business management major, but her heart is in civic engagement and politics.
So long term, I want to run for office. I want to start this nonprofit. It's going to be centered on youth, regardless of whether I change the direction it goes in. But it was going to be centered on youth and educating them about their rights, especially as it pertains to like employment rights.
Latika had an internship which eventually became a paid position under District 2 Councilwoman Jada Andrews Sullivan.
Really want to push civic engagement for women and especially women of color. Representation is key and it's lacking right now, period. It is. It baffles me sometimes on how long it's taken for even our city council to look the way it looks. We have some amazingly powerful women of color in our city council, and it took way too long for it to get this diverse.
Latika has been selected for a fellowship with Ignite National, which is a nonpartisan nonprofit that encourages young women to actively engage in the political process, empowering them to run for office. Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News.
Well, just about 6:17, which means our morning commute is off and running.
All right, it was a smooth one out there so far, Marcus Trujillo.
So far, no issues on the highways. That's been the great news all morning long. And as we take a look at a couple of TransGuide cameras, we're definitely seeing some increases in the traffic. That 410 and Ingham, also I-10 and Dominion. So far, though, no delays in anyone's travel time. So roads are dry right now. Mike, are they going to stay dry?
Yes. Now, as far as the humidity is concerned, I don't know if that counts as far as making the roads, but you're going to be not dry when you step outside. I'll tell you that. All right, we've seen, had beautiful pictures of flowers in the past couple of months, but this one, has anybody ever seen this before? It is an unusual bloom. Is it Caladium, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly? A Caladium flower. How gorgeous is that? Anybody ever seen that before? I never have. But anyway, thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. Wow, look at the clouds out there, and you can almost see the humidity. 79 degrees right now, mid-upper 70s. That's the average around here, and we're about, in most areas, about 4 or 5 degrees above normal. Should be right around 73 for a normal low temperature. That's what the dew point is right now here in town. 76 Castroville, Helota 74, Port St. Randolph, Stinson, Canyon Lake at 75. That just means it's like a rainforest when you step outside. And we do have a heat index right now. Feels like 85 in Gonzales, New Braunfels. Heat index is 85 degrees and 82 out there at the airport. And you can add probably about 20 degrees to those heat index readings, and that's what it's going to feel like later on today. Now, air temperatures, you saw we just jumped past right about 93 for a high later on today, which is normal. And then tomorrow we're going to be up to 94 degrees. Again, in the ballpark of normal, but you got to add in that humidity. So that's why we get these heat index readings that are going to be up in the upper 90s, close to 100 later on today, and even low hundreds out in the Rio Grande Valley. So we had a couple of showers that popped up around the area yesterday, and a few of them just, they lasted maybe 5 minutes moving through town. There were a couple of lightning strikes down to the southwest around Cotulla, and then there were some pretty hefty storms up around Austin late last night, early this morning. Actually prompted some flooding up there, some flood warnings, flash flood warnings up there. Those obviously have moved on out of here. We're going to have a fair amount of clouds throughout the day. Call it partly sunny skies, and there will be a few of those thunderstorms and a few showers that try and develop out to the west later on today. Now, this computer model does not have them holding together, but there's always that chance that some of those storms may try and hold together in the overnight hours. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. And then tomorrow we'll go through the same process again with more clouds in the morning, a little more sunshine in the afternoon, and we begin that warming process as well as we go into tomorrow and then each and every day for the rest of the week. 87 degrees today at noon, mostly cloudy skies, breezy, wind about, say, 10, 20 miles per hour. Not overly windy, but just enough of a breeze out there. 93 for high temperature today, which is basically normal, but factor in the humidity. Again, it's going to feel warmer than that. A couple of those showers or thunderstorms out to the west later on today, and most of them should stay out to the west, but again, we'll kind of keep an eye on things. 94 tomorrow, 95, and just you see the pattern here going into the next few days. We'll make it into the upper 90s by the weekend. Sunshine in the morning, clouds in the afternoon, and so we're going to be looking at some pretty high heat index readings as well. We have the actual air temperatures up in the mid to upper 90s. Doesn't take much to put those heat index readings well up into the hundreds.
Well, the forecasts on the calendar are kind of syncing up now, aren't they?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, we're a little bit above normal still, but you think of July, it's hot.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. 621, 79 degrees.
American and United Airlines are putting every seat on their planes once again up for sale. We'll have your details in your GMA First Look after the break.
Here's your secret word of the day. Enter it on KSAT.com/Circle K for a monthly chance to win free gas for a year. Every entry wins a Polar Pop. We are Circle K.
Needles, essential for sewing, but maybe not for people with certain inflammatory conditions, because there are options, like an injection, Xeljanz. The first and only pill of its kind that treats moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, or moderate to severe ulcerative colitis, when other medicines have not helped enough. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections. Before and during treatment, your doctor should check for infections like TB and do blood tests. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, or are prone to infections. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers, including lymphoma, and blood clots have happened. Taking a higher than recommended dose of Xeljanz for RA may increase risk of death. Tears in the stomach or intestines and serious allergic reactions have happened. Needles. Fine for some, but for you, there's a pill that may provide symptom relief. Ask your doctor about the pill first prescribed for RA more than 7 years ago. Xeljanz, an injection.
In this morning's GMA First Look, as more passengers are heading to the skies, Atlanta's airport predicting twice as many passengers to fly than it has seen over the past few weeks. And now, two of America's biggest airlines are loosening social distancing restrictions. American and United telling ABC News that all seats, including middle ones, are up for sale, something United has already been doing. American will open up those seats Wednesday. So, is it safe to fly?
It's a risk, like anything. I think there's a couple things you have to ask yourself before you fly. One, is it necessary? Do you really need to take that trip? Two, do you have any personal risk factors which put you at greater risk for COVID-19?
And coming up at 7 a.m., Dr. Jen Ashton weighs in live with what you need to know before boarding a plane. With your GMA First Look, I'm Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
Starbucks has decided to pull its social media ads. The company says the move is not part of the ad boycott against Facebook. During its pause, Starbucks says it will be discussing how to stop hate speech online with civil rights groups and its media partners.
Reports say Apple's next iPhone is going to be sold all on its own. A well-regarded Apple analyst says the new phone will arrive without a power adapter or earbuds. They'll be sold separately. The move allows Apple to keep the price around that of the previous model.
Well, boo.
But you just can't use it because you're going to have to buy that power cord.
Wow. Okay. So I wonder, by the time we add up the stuff we normally get in the box, where does it compare to the others?
Yeah, twice as much.
You already have that stuff.
Maybe they're assuming that you already have.
But then, you know, from model to model, it always varies. Can I use the stuff from the old model for the next one?
The plot thickens.
These are the burning questions.
It is. Just about 627, 79 degrees.
Still ahead in our next half hour, Texas bars have been forced to close down again in an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19. But the Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance has said it plans to file lawsuits in state and federal courts this week.
And the latest on that report accusing Russia of offering bounties to the Taliban to kill U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. Details next.
A call about a burglar alarm reveals much more. A fire inside this West Side business. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. I'll tell you all about it.
A lawsuit has been filed against the state by Texas bars and nightclubs after they were forced to shut down this Friday. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. What the group is saying against the state.
The president is responding to a bombshell report about bounties being paid to kill U.S. troops in Afghanistan. I'm Alex Perche in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
And outside with live cam, lots of humidity out there. We move the dust out, we kick up the heat, and that leads us into the July 4th weekend. We'll talk to Mike in a moment. Good morning to you. It is Monday. It is June 29th, and Myra Arthur is here all this week on GMSA. So glad to have her here with us this morning. Hey,
Thanks
Myra.
for having me, guys.
Yeah.
It actually is nice to be up this early.
Makes your day last longer. Except you'll be falling asleep.
That's what I was thinking of. But it's nice to be with you guys.
We're so glad that you were here this morning. What's that?
So it's glad to have her here.
Absolutely. Marcus,
now let's see tomorrow if she's just as peppy.
Oh, just to spry tomorrow morning?
Let's see.
Oh, she's going to be
check
fine.
Check back in and see how much coffee is underneath this desk tomorrow.
Right. Well, as you grab that coffee cup and head out the door right now, no issues out there on the highways, so no accidents on the highways. So far, everything's still looking pretty good.
Michael?
Yes. Get ready when you walk outside because, boy, that humidity is just going to kind of slap you in the face. We've got plenty of clouds out there this morning, and that combined with the humidity is helping to hold temperatures up. So we're about 5-6 degrees on average above the normal low temperature. Should be in the low 70s right now. So mid-upper 70s is pretty much the average around the area. And the dew points, the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, again, these numbers, we're looking at 74s, 76s around there. That's just really, really high humidity. There's also a bit of a breeze, about 10, 15 miles per hour. It's going to be on the breezy side throughout the day, not overly windy, but just enough out there. Still, a little bit of dust was showing up in yesterday's allergen count. Molds on the moderate side, pigweed is low. And throughout the day, warm and humid, partly sunny, breezy. A couple of showers and thunderstorms are possible well out to the west later on this afternoon. Otherwise, we're going to have heat index readings getting up in the upper 90s and a lot of low hundreds, especially around the Rio Grande Valley. More sunshine and temperatures are going to be heating up throughout the rest of the week. Then we go into the weekend. You can chalk this one up, Mark. Yes, it is going to be, for the 4th, hotter than a firecracker. How many is that? 4 times? 4 times. Okay, not bad. Anyway, details on the weekend coming up in just a couple of minutes. Once again, time saver traffic and
just not inside the city limits.
Correct. Thank you very much, officer.
There we go.
Yes, no fire, no setting off fireworks inside San Antonio.
There we go. Right now, things look pretty good with no accidents on the highways. Let's move over to TransGuide.
Wasn't method to my madness here.
Highway 90 at 410 so far, still looking pretty good with no issues. I-10 at Woodstone. As we move over to 35, 410 up on the northeast side, traffic still moving along nicely. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. 6:33, looks like an electrical problem is to blame for a fire at a West Side restaurant and gas station. Broke out around 3 this morning in the 700 block of South Acme Road. Katrina Weber there live with more in our top story. Katrina, good morning. How bad is the damage out there?
Well, good morning. Firefighters say there was more smoke than anything else, but there was some fire damage in the subway side of this building. The other side of the building has smoke damage as well. Now, this started about 3 o'clock this morning. Let me give you a look at the video that we have from earlier when almost a dozen fire units responded. This started, though, with police. They actually came to the scene. They heard a ringing burglar alarm inside the subway station. They got there, found that there was smoke inside that portion of the building. They did knock a hole in the convenience store side of it just to make sure that the flames had not spread. They say, though, that there was smoke throughout. They were able to knock down the fire without anyone being injured, and this business was closed at the time when this broke out, so no employees here to evacuate, and again, no injuries to anyone else here. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thanks, Katrina. Just into our newsroom after a crash yesterday evening, an SAPD officer is now under arrest. Max Massey is staying on top of the story this morning. He joins us live from the newsroom with new information from police. So, Max, what do we know about this officer?
Well, the information is still coming in, but according to records, this is at least the second time this officer has been arrested in just the last 8 months. The preliminary information shows the officer who was on administrative duty was arrested just before 6 o'clock yesterday after what police are calling a possible assault inside a vehicle. So take a look. Police say Officer Jonathan Montalvo was driving on I-10 near UTSA Boulevard when the vehicle he was in hit a guardrail and led to a major accident. We're told Officer Montalvo was with his girlfriend. She had injuries that appeared to be consistent with the accident, and she denied that Montalvo has assaulted her. Now, she refused to provide a statement, but she admitted that Montalvo was her boyfriend and that they lived together. That's important. But here's the thing. Detectives and a supervisor with the SAPD Family Violence Unit began investigating. They remember that Montalvo was previously arrested back in November for assault, family strangulation, assaulting this same woman. He is currently on bond for that charge. Montalvo has a condition of bond prohibiting contact with her and still confirmed the woman was his girlfriend and that they are living together. So SAPD officials say his status will be changed from administrative duty to temporary administrative leave. The investigation is ongoing. No further information available at this point. But guys, this is a fluid story. Make sure to stay with us on air and online for the latest updates. Mark, Myra.
All right, yeah, more to follow there. Thanks, Max. Also new this morning, a woman is left with a broken leg after a motorcycle crash overnight. According to San Antonio police, this happened when a man and woman were riding their motorcycle around 1 this morning. That was on Green Mountain Road in Loop 1604. They reportedly hit some gravel and lost control, causing them to flip that bike. The woman was taken to Stone Oak Methodist with a broken leg.
Accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of clothing, 2 people have been arrested in connection with a string of thefts here in Baer County. According to an arrest affidavit, 25-year-old Desiree Benavides Saucedo is accused of stealing products from multiple Ulta makeup stores and Old Navy's over the span of several months. Police say Saucedo was with 32-year-old Hector Alberto Perales on February 10th earlier this year when they both allegedly stole more than $999 worth of clothing. Police say they stole from several other Old Navy stores, accumulating thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. Saucedo is facing charges of theft under $2,500. Perales facing charges of engaging in organized crime. The surge in coronavirus cases continues right here in Baer County.
And this morning, we know an additional 495 new cases were announced, pushing our total number of cases past the 10,000 mark.
2 new deaths were also reported. The death toll now stands at 109. Hospitalizations also continue to rise.
Right now, there are 802 patients in local hospitals. That's 72 more than the previous day. 265 of those patients are in the ICU. 138 are on ventilators. 3,150 patients have recovered so far.
Bars and nightclubs in Texas were forced to shut down Friday after Governor Greg Abbott ordered them to close as COVID-19 cases continue to surge.
Now those businesses are suing the state. Sarah Acosta is live from home with what those businesses are claiming. Sarah?
Good morning, Myra and Mark. Yeah, the group that filed that suit on Saturday, they're calling the shutdown unjust. In a Facebook post on Saturday, the group who's filing the suit, the Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance, posted on its Facebook page saying that they support their members' constitutional right to protest the recent order by keeping their businesses open. The group said they heard from many of its members that they were displeased with the state's decision to close bars and nightclubs. In a statement, the organization said, quote, "Our businesses have once again unjustly been indefinitely closed without one shred of scientific evidence that bars and nightclubs pose any more of a public health hazard than a restaurant, grocery store, big box retailer, convenience store, health club, hair salon, or the many other businesses that cater to the public throughout the state of Texas," end quote. The group plans to file the lawsuit in both state and federal courts this week, seeking a temporary restraining order to end the governor's current order. The Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission has already suspended liquor permits for 2 bars that had defied the governor's executive order. Another part of that executive order from Governor Greg Abbott on Friday was for restaurants to scale back from 75% capacity to 50% capacity, and that goes in effect today. Reporting live from home, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Mike.
Thanks, Sarah. President Donald Trump is pushing back on a bombshell report accusing Russia of offering bounties to the Taliban to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan.
He says he was never briefed on the matter. Members of Congress are now pushing for answers on whether that's true. ABC's Alex Perche has more this morning from Washington.
Overnight, President Trump pushing back on a bombshell New York Times report, accusing Russia of offering bounties on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. That same report saying the president was briefed on the findings. Trump responded in a tweet that Intel told him they did not find this info credible and therefore did not report it to me or Vice President Pence. That report says Russian intelligence officers offered to pay the Taliban to kill American troops amid peace talks to end America's longest war. A military official confirmed the report to ABC News, but did not know if the president had been briefed. The political fallout has been swift.
If it is true, underline the word if, that they are paying surrogates to kill Americans, this is one of the most serious matters, I think, that has arisen in the Trump administration.
Republican Representative Liz Cheney tweeting, "If the report is true, why wasn't the president or VP briefed? Who did know and when? And what's been the response?"
This is as bad as it gets.
And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the president's response totally outrageous.
You would think that the minute the president heard of it, he would want to know more instead of denying that he knew anything.
Pelosi saying top congressional leaders were not aware of the report, but would be investigating to determine if the president was briefed. Last year, 23 U.S. troops died in Afghanistan, but whether any were targeted by Taliban fighters paid by Russian operatives is not known, according to military sources. Still, this is new fuel for Trump's 2020 challenger, Joe Biden.
Donald Trump has continued his embarrassing campaign of deference and debasing himself before Vladimir Putin.
A senior administration official told the Associated Press that the White House plans to brief select members of Congress about the issue later today. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
642, 79 degrees.
Could tax credits for low and moderate income families help kids perform better in school? We have that story next on GMSA.
Welcome back. 645. Roughly 25 million Americans received the federal earned income tax credit last year, which supplemented their income by about $2,500 on average.
Now, some new research is showing this credit bump could impact how their kids score on academic tests. Our Erica Hernandez with the details.
Here's your paycheck. Thank you. Filing taxes isn't something most Americans look forward to, but it could offer benefits to your pocketbook and your kids' math and reading skills. Researchers examined data on 4,412 children between ages 5 and 14. More than half were Black or Hispanic. They found when parents experienced increases in income due to larger earned income tax credits, their kids performed better on an achievement test. Even a $1,000 increase in family income helped to raise children's math and reading scores. Low and moderate income families may be eligible up to $6,500 back in tax credits. But research shows millions don't receive the cash because they don't know about credit or don't file their taxes. And non-native English speakers are less likely to apply than those who speak English. Experts say filing your taxes is especially important this year because it's how COVID-19 relief money is given. The bottom line, you can't benefit if you don't file. The U.S. has extended the tax filing deadline until July 15th, though you still have time. And if you prefer, there's a Spanish version of the Earned Income Tax Credit Assistant to help you out. Visit irs.gov for more details. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
And the highways are still looking pretty good right now, folks. Let's move from the map. I-10 at Ralph Fair Road. So far, no issues there. And take a look. Highway 90 at 410. Still no increases in the traffic down on this part of the city. I-10 at Bernie Sage Road. Eastbound, westbound lanes, no issues. And up on the east side, 35 at Eisenhower's. Traffic still moving along nicely. Mike?
Some of those pictures look a little bit better over there than some of those TransGuide cameras. Speaking of beautiful pictures, this is a great one from one of our regular KSAT Connect folks. Yvonne, thank you very much. Sunset in the country. And boy, the fields are nice and green out there. It was nice to see some rain because we were really lacking for a while in the month of June. We're still behind normal, but at least some folks did get some rain, even though it was very, very patchy. And that may be the case later on today. But, oh, speaking of not good pictures, boy, you can just kind of see all the haze and everything hanging over the city right now. And all that's maybe a little bit of dust mixed in, but also all that humidity. 75 Rio Medina right now, 79 Helotes, as well as Canyon Lake, 80 still in New Braunfels. And the humidity, again, remains very, very high. Dew points, the measure moisture in the atmosphere, well up into the mid 70s. So it is going to greet you when you walk out the door this morning. And we do have a bit of a heat index to deal with right now. Feels about 3-4 degrees above what it actually is. And those heat index numbers add roughly maybe 20 to those numbers. And that's what it's going to feel like later on this afternoon. Wind is out of the south primarily at about 10-15 miles per hour. We got a couple of wind gusts out there. Rock Springs 25, 17 in Fredericksburg. We had a gust of about 25 earlier this morning. It's not going to be overly windy today, but just a nice breeze out there. Temperature is going to be well up into the low 90s, pardon me, and then dropping down to the upper 80s by about 7 o'clock tonight. And then tomorrow will be up around 94 for a high temperature, and so we're going to continue to go up a degree or so each and every day. And then the heat index readings, that's what's really going to count today, because with all the humidity sticking around here, the 93 is going to feel like about 100 or even higher than that. And we will have some sunshine mixed in with the clouds later on today. Also, we're going to have to watch out for some of those showers developing out there to the west later on. Most will be confined out to the west. There may be a few showers trying to scooch a little further to the east, but also got to keep an eye just in case something decides to kind of move a little bit further to the east in the overnight hours. And then tomorrow we start off with clouds and we'll have more sunshine in the afternoon. That'll pretty much be the case then throughout the rest of the week. And also temperatures will continue just a very slow incline upward as we go on through the week and going in toward the weekend. 87 degrees today at noon, mostly cloudy, a little bit of a breeze out there. Perhaps a shower or thunderstorm out to the west. Partly sunny skies today, breezy 93. The high temperature, that's the normal high, and then we continue, like I said, just to go up about a degree or so each and every day. Mid and upper 90s going into the weekend with clouds in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon.
And all morning long, you only use the phrase hotter than a firecracker. 4, count them 4 times. I'm so proud.
Not too bad.
The week is young.
The week is young. Oh yeah, there's more. There's more chances. So we'll start with a fresh list tomorrow, okay? Thanks, Mike. Right now we're at 650, 79 degrees.
Health experts are predicting the number of coronavirus cases across the country will continue to rise as businesses reopen after the staggering numbers that we saw this past week. Tomorrow on GMSA at 6, we'll look into why they say keeping an eye on specific scientific models is still very important.
Let's go back outside with Live Cam. The news you need to know before you go is coming up, and another look at time saver traffic with Officer Trujillo. Stick around.
This West Side business was closed, but fire was working here overnight. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. That fire that broke out here means that this business will have to stay closed until further notice. Now, San Antonio police were the first to notice the smoke and flames inside the Subway shop around 3 this morning. They responded to a ringing burglar alarm inside the business in the 700 block of South Acme Road. Firefighters got here. They stopped the flames from spreading to the convenience store side of it. Still, there was some smoke damage there as well. No firefighters were hurt. Now, they tell us that it looks like there was an electrical problem with a soda machine inside the Subway side, and that is what started the fire. Reporting from the West Side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
5 minutes till 7 on your Monday morning.
All right, let's get one last check of how things are looking out on the roads, Officer.
Still looking pretty good out there. 281. Take a look at 281 Winding Way, moving over here to I-10 at Ralph Road. Starting to pick up on those eastbound and westbound lanes, but still no delay in anyone's travel time. Moving over to Highway 151 at 410, you can see those connector ramps have more than enough room. So just remember, you buckle up once you head out. Mike?
Thank you, sir. And get ready when you open up the door, because boy, oh boy, that humidity is going to give you a nice Monday morning hello. Just a nice big sloppy wet kiss, basically, with all that humidity.
Z calls it the air you can wear.
I like that one. That's a good idea. That's a good description. Okay. So we've got 79 degrees here in town, 78 up the road in Canyon Lake, and a nice little breeze out of the south, about 10, 15 miles per hour. It's going to stay breezy today. 87 at noon, 93 for a high temperature, but the heat index again is going to be well up into the upper 90s and low hundreds, and temperatures will just continue to warm up throughout the rest of the week.
Myra gets a trophy today for tolerating us
for
2.5 hours.
Wow, what do we get for the rest of the week?
Next up, sainthood. Sainthood. You make it through Friday.
1 down, 4 to go, Myra.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Nice to be with you guys.
It was good to have you here. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here for GMSA at 9.